in this society we're living in, we always get engrossed by what's happening externally. And most of the time, when there's a changes, normally people used to go against the change they don't like because of the habitual thinking of an individual that they want it to be. These changes, it can be good, it can be bad, or it just changes for the sake of change. So we got to see. You see, for example, medicine. Why people have a conflict of view on medicine? Some people, this is good, that is no good. They have this conflict of views. I want Chinese doctor, I don't like Western medicine, blah, 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 blah. And you have this conflict of view all the time. If you want to ask your body cannot answer the question. If you want to ask the medicine cannot answer you the question. But if you want to ask yourself, then you see, the problem is with our mind. Our uninformed mind, ignorance, our ignorant mind, diluted mind that's full of what? Full of self-identity, self-claim views. And this is the biggest problem in mankind. This is the biggest problem in mankind that causing this whole world to kill each other. If this so-called human mind can possess a quality of compassion and sacrifices, they can create lots of benefit for mankind. But even though with these good people around, and yet people still have conflict with this kind of people. You look at the Buddha, during the Buddha's time, even the Buddha is a Buddha, and all these different schools of thoughts. They knew he's an Arahant, he's a Buddha, and yet they fight fault with him. You look at if you were to refer to the Atita Pariraso, the fire sermon, the Chenin Sampi Nong, the three brothers, Kasapa brother, the fire worshipper. There are three brothers, all in different village, named after different village, but under the surname of Kasapa. They have conflict of view with the Buddha. They knew the Buddha is good. They know. He knows he's an Arahant, but he's not better than me. Why? Because they have so much attachment, so strong attachment, what we call it, pride. Even the Buddha point out everything, all the Dhamma to them. And he's inside, no, I'm still better than you. No, I cannot accept. No, I'm still better than. So, this I am still better than you. You are no match for me. I'm more educated than you. I'm everything better than you. This I am. The minute it arises in our mind, this is what we call pride, self-identity. This is what we call titi, right? And this is the thing that shut us from the real Dhamma. And the Buddha got to exercise a lot of restraint, a lot of compassion to Kasapa brother. And then slowly he preaches this sermon called the fire sermon. Like we have been chanting every Wednesday, the fire sermon. Then they realize they are able to take refuges in the Buddha's teaching. It's not so easy. You see, even the Buddha, in the schools of thought in India, so many schools of thoughts, so many different sects. You see, even the Lord Buddha who know the truth, and yet people contest. Now, you look at a society we're living in now. Same thing. Our human problem is because of the same thing. It cannot go beyond that. It is one. This is the cause of our suffering. This is the cause of suffering. When we talk about fire, the fire that burns us, it's not the external fire. The external fire that burns us, you can put on coconut oil, a burnol, or some medicine, and it can cure the boils, the burn mark. And that's it. You can relieve your pain. But the burning of your mind is very, very suffering. And we know individually, this one, how to handle our mind state. This kind of mind state is through meditation. It's through what? Instilling more mindfulness, instilling concentration practice. And when the mind comes down, we contemplate a lot. Contemplate to find the cause. Why? And this is the way we can quench or we can put out the fire in our own mind. This is the only way. There's no other way, no shortcut. Sometimes I read, they say, this is a shortcut. I say, we got shortcut. It's your own mind. If we can't see it, even we read the book about shortcut, it's still, we cannot, how to apply it in our own mind. But if a person who has mindfulness practice, maybe first time you start to arrest certain mind states, certain thoughts arises in you. You're not so sure, not so clear. But the more you practice, the more perseverance, the more patience you exercise yourself, self-control, the restraint of the senses. We start to talk lesser, less contact, watch yourself, do a lot of walking, sitting, walking. Then you see how this mind start to grumble, start to have a, what we call that, dialogue with you, or start to bargain with you. We don't have to sit so long. What for we sit so long? Maintain mindfulness, blah, blah, blah. And did you maintain mindfulness? No. We maintain what? Mindlessness. Because we let the whole world come into the mind. Hell break loose. You see, we got no control. We let the mind think of so much things at one go. And we doesn't know. And then we feel that, it's okay. Sometimes our body is in the temple, but our mind don't know somewhere else. It's true. You can be in the temple. It's just like a zombie. You see the show, the zombie show? These people zombie, like dead body. It's no different at all. So how to be, not to be a zombie? Mindfulness. Putto. Instill mindfulness into putto. Do everything, make sure you are there. Make sure your presence of mind is there all the time. Because why? If you don't have this presence of this mindfulness to guide your mind, then all this thought, unwholesome thought, when you start to occupy your mind under the influence of your eyes, of your ears, of your nose or tongue, your bodily feeling, how they influence you. You see something, doesn't agree. You hear something, doesn't agree, or you love it. This is how this wholesome or unwholesome state arises, and you start to react. And this is how we commit karma at this point. That's why we say mindfulness is so important in our daily life. Mindfulness, sati, sampachanya, and the presence of the mind, presence of body, to know what is happening. Instead of instilling, of pursuing the thought, the intention, we want to push on certain agenda, we got to have this thing to look at it. Then there will be a problem. We won't be inviting problem to ourselves. The more we practice, the more we're getting happier. If the more we practice, the more we're getting more and more suffering, then we're going to look deeper. Why I suffer? You got to suffer before you can get away from suffering. It's just a person. If you don't know what is called unwholesome, then you don't know what is called wholesome. So sometimes when we suffer, it's good. Then we know that, okay, I suffer because of this problem. So how to not suffer? Turn back, do the reverse the other way around. Then we look at the whole thing again. Then we can find the center point of practice. This is how we practice. Because why? It's through trial and error. Trial and error. Everybody practice through trial and error. No one is perfect. We commit mistake, we correct. This is how we improve ourselves. Okay? That will be the sharing for today. And the monk will give the blessing now. You see, in the ancients, when our great-great-grandfather came into this land, what did they do? They do cultivations, they plant their own weeds, their own food, they stay with the family, happy family, everybody looking after each other, share whatever they have, and they're so happy, no problem. They build a house, and when time changes, you see the whole thinking process change. It has been replaced by what? Monetary, money, cash. And it has been doctrinated in school that you should study, you should earn a living, you should blah blah, and thus we are drifting away from the real nature of our life. We can't really find happiness nowadays. Look at the family units nowadays. Why there's so much disharmony in the family? Because the parents don't do their duty anymore. Because they're indulgent in sensual pleasure. People are running away to get more money to pay for a house. Whereas last time you built your own house, you plant your own food, you got all the time at home with your family people, and you got a warm family. But nowadays, how come we have so much thing, yet the whole society is going to crumple? People is getting more and more educated, but getting more and more, making things more difficult to live in. Why? Last time so simplified. You look at life, so simplified. People are so simple-minded, not so cunning. Nowadays, we have all this crazy law, crazy thing coming out. And they so-called law and order. You look at it. We're making harder and harder for people to live. I don't understand. But this is the world of craving. Because people with defilement rules. That's the problem. With people with calmness, people with compassion rules, there's no problem. They will know how to simplify things, to make things easy for people. Nowadays, you look at the whole thing, more and more difficult, more and more hurdles, red tapes coming out. And they say happiness, prevention. So you look at the whole thing. Why we want to make things difficult? Why we want to make life so hard for people to live in? Why? Because there's a complication of the mind. Because we're drifted from the true value of living, of life. I like to bring back to ancient lifestyle. A lot of people say, this is not workable. I always protest and contest. You speak as though your shit have different smell from the ancient shit. Human being are human being. What changes? It's just the things of doing the way we do things. And this is what happened. Life going to be harder. You look at people. Last time people can have house easily been bought. Nowadays, people working double shift and yet cannot acquire. Because why? They have placed their hope on the monetary gains. The money is the one. The rich is also control this thing. And this is the truth. But people don't like to hear. Why I want to bring up this thing? Because the more I look at it, people are really crazy running after this paper and yet they don't find happiness. They have a family, they got big house, but nobody stay. Who stay? The maid. The maid stay. They hire a maid to stay and the maid like the boss. So nice. And this rich, so-called rich people own so many houses, so proud. But the way I look at them, they're stupid. Just a slave. Just a slave to their external thing. And they say happiness. Where got happiness? Got house, cannot stay. Got all the good food, cannot enjoy. Every day, running here, running there, like a crazy bum like that. And they say, very successful. Very... What is it all about? So the minute we look at it, it's quite fun how people going crazy, running after external things, and yet they are so proud of it. In the end, they thought they never die. And they die like, they start to regret. They have got so many houses, they got the son, the daughter, everything. But who can help you to absorb the pain you're suffering now? Lying on the bed. Can they help you to absorb? No. Anyone coming to visit you to give you words of courage? No. Because the society has been engaging in crazy things outside there. No moral teaching has been implemented in the system. And this is the society we're heading. The whole world is going to a doom if we don't have this moral support. And people are so proud. I look at it and think, it's crazy. But what to do? We leave them alone. We just share this type of sharing within our group. And some might agree, some might not agree. But we got to tell the truth. This is the truth. We got food. You see, people sell away the land. Then they invest on something else. They have land. They sold away. Then they go and change the money. But money can devalue. Like got one devotee. He worked so hard as a teacher his whole life, keeping his money, buying share. He said, if I retire, I will have a big sum of money. I can release my money, blah, blah, blah. Boom! The money devalue. He almost shocked to death. All his dream is just like crushed in a split second. Devalue. That's it. But if you were to hold to the old value, you have land, build your own house, you do your own thing. No problems. Yes, the society may not be so sophisticated, so-called sophisticated. Your sensory gain will be so crazy that nowadays you got no time for yourself. But if you will be like 50 years back, you got a lot of times. Because why? Life is so relaxed. Life is not taxing. You got a lot of time for yourself. Nowadays, what people got no time? They don't even have time. Because their mind engrossing, thinking of external thing all the while. That's crazy. That's crazy, totally crazy. This is a thought, food for thoughts. It's a sharing. sharing from this crazy monk. Because we think about the whole thing. Same thing. We do things I always say, we can be engrossed in doing things, but within this parameter, we don't go externally. Then we don't have problem. Then we have more time for ourselves. If not, if you're engaging too much, this will be the problem externally. We got no time for ourselves, and at the end of the day, when we're at our deathbed, we're going to die, we will regret, oh shit, I didn't do any cultivation at all. All my life wasted. The people out there, same thing. The only thing that, I got a house for my son, yeah, okay, I got this for my daughter, okay. They're happy of that material thing, you see. But for us, we cannot do that. You see? Especially when we are aiming for spiritual gain, we should cultivate more on how to subdue our defilements, our great hatred delusions. And that's why we are here. That's why we are here for the practice. We are here to hear the sharing of the Dhamma, food for thoughts of back to the nature, back to the nature. Why the Buddha saying back to the nature, back to the nature? It's the nature of the mind, the nature of simplicity in living. This is the real happiness you can find within yourself. If we cannot develop the happiness within ourselves, our mind, even we sit and meditate, thinking, planning, boom, don't go away. In the end, nothing. It's only thinking and planning. We don't develop samadhi, don't talk about wisdom. It's only the worldly thing only. But internally, we cannot do anything. So be careful, huh? Be careful. And that will be the sharing for today. Now there was an issue now. Some of the monks, they got involved with two famous monks. So he got a lot of viewers. And this monk, he forgotten. He started to use this platform instead of giving Dhamma talk to do review on what? Amway product. And his reason is to help the lay people so that any incoming profit will be for meritorious deed, to do good things, and that caused a big hoo-ha in Thailand now. And he was a Maha Chepayot, Bali grade 7. That means he's very, very good in expert in the sutta knowledge about Vinaya, about all the things about Buddhism, And a lot of people commented, especially senior monks, said, why don't you just disrobe and become a review? Just do review on this type of products instead of becoming a monk. and this monk, instead of taking the advice from the elder monk, openly through the platform, he voiced his grievances to his viewer that he has been ill-treated by the senior monk, this and that. So from a third, we are the third party. We look at the whole thing is that that's a problem with a monk who don't practice. They have a lot of knowledge, but they don't hold to the practice. And they take the wrong thing to be the right thing. They thought that it's good. And when senior monk criticize them, they get angry, not happy. And instead of confessing their wrongdoing, they go and complain to the lay people. Hoping the lay people have sympathy on him and using the public pressure to pressure a senior monk, which is very silly. Because why? If we look at the whole thing, we are monks, we are not lay people. So what is there for a monk to sell things online? And why we want to bring out this matter? Because of nowadays, internet is so easily accessed. A lot of people they doesn't know, especially when you're newly ordained, nobody tell you what is the do, what is the don't. When we see somebody do it, thought that it's okay. This is selling, and it's against the Vinaya rule. Monks shouldn't buy and sell. So it's very important because why? Like yesterday, I received call from China. One of my student in China, a Chinese monk. So he was viewing his grievances to me that in China they don't have people to support them in terms of the 4 requisites. That's why they got to resolve in a doing ceremonial to look for survivor. And I sympathize with him. I just tell him that, well, just too bad you are born in a place that, Buddhism has been sabotaged, has been diluted with a monk not observing the precept, and this is the outcome. Because previously in China, if you were to go to history, even the Mahayanese monk, the Chinese monk, also they've been the butt. To confirm that, because my grandmother was from China, Fujian, and she told me that when she was a young lady, young before she got married, every day while this monk coming from the mountain on top will come down to the village to ask for food every day, and my grandmother will boil tapioca and this sweet potato, because life was very harsh then. And my grandmother every day I give to sometimes potato, sometimes what do you call that, tapioca, or sometimes is sweet potato every day without fail, and some salt. And if got veggie, I'll give veggie. I say only one month, but stay up in the mountain. So why nowadays this tradition disappeared? Because of no proper support, and because it become a communist country, and they don't want religions, and they only opened up in the year 1980 when they start to have people to believe in religion again after 40 years of communism. And this is the setback, that this young generation of monks, they lack of support. And it was very sympathizing, because why? They really don't have support. In order to get support, they got to do jobs like go chanting, do ceremony for people, and it's just like a religious personnel, that's all. And in terms of practice, you hardly could practice, because you got to every time worry about your food, your lodging, whether when you're sick, what to do. And this is their worry all over, for basic needs. And so he asked me that, is he committing an offense? So I said that you got to look at the offense. For Buddhist monk, the offense that can be, you cannot confess at all. That's parajika, the four parajika. You can't confess. Once you commit, finish, no more a monk. The fourth, we call it parajika. That means like beheaded. And the third thing, Sanghadisesa, which can be, we call it under probations, and you need 20 months to churn you out from clear of your purity. And the rest, we call it, you can confess to your fellow monks. It's not a grave offense. So there are three categories. So after explaining to him, that he feel relief. Oh, okay. The first two, and we never commit. We only cook our own food, plant our own thing, pluck own fruits, isn't it? I said, well, you're in a situation that no one help you. What to do? I said, if you want to influence, how to influence? So I suggested that why not you take some Long Pu Man's books, which is translated into Chinese, and try to give it to university students to do review. I think you got to penetrate the universities to the lab and do the review of Theravada monk. Then from them, they will know what is the practice of the real monk. Then from then, you can, when they start to ask you questions, that's where you can win the heart of the people. Oh, this is what you can help us. What you can help us to. I mean, this is a very good move. If not, you cannot penetrate at all. I don't know, but why I bring up this thing is that you look at here, we are so blessed. We have how many? More than 10 persons come and bring food, cook food for us. We are very blessed down here, Geelong. We are very blessed. So don't waste the blessing that we have now, and uphold what we should do in our practice, so that this tradition will carry on for the benefit of ourselves and the people who are going to come next, in the future. So people can carry on, they know what is the correct thing to do. If not, we will end up like China. Then we will regret. So we are not in the stage that. So that will be the sharing, and then the monk will do the blessing. Now we talk about self-training, we talk about related karma, right? Sometimes in life, most of the people might have experience. Certain people we meet or we've met, you can feel the familiarity, the kind of binding is there, the kind of sisterhood, brotherhood is there, that you look like one family, like you know these people a long time ago, and there's a kind of connection there. You can click, And for certain people, even though you don't know them, it's the first time, and they have been very nice to us, but there was this kind of disgusting feeling towards that certain individual. I believe everybody got this kind of encounterment. And what causes this? Now, if we were to recall back what the Buddha taught about your past related karma, right? In one of Sutta, the Buddha ever mentions that every person, every living beings we encounter, we see, we hear said, from the voice to eye contact to hearsay, there is a connection in the past. In the past, they have ever been your parents, brother, sister, and so forth. There's a relationship there. That's why you have this kind of connections. And that's why there's certain place we go, there's a connection to the place that people just give, even though we don't know. Things just happen so marvelously, and it's so, you can feel so strange. People are nowhere, they just care for you, they just think about you. How come he never come? Or what happened to him? Blah, 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 and so forth. So there's a connections there. And because of this connection, it given us the opportunity to cultivate goodness, to have the kind of encouragement that you want to do it more. And this is very encouraging because why? This is the way we accumulate goodness. You yourself also accumulating goodness, and thus giving other people an opportunity to get themselves committed for this kind of meritorious deed. And certain place, if there's no connection, you can walk the whole day. You can stand in front of the shop. No one give you a damn. They just look at you and sort of motionless, non-reactional, like you are invisible. It's like, hey, why? So this is the kind of what we call, there's a connection. Just as the Buddha's time, there was a group of monks, and they went to the Buddha. They said they want to practice, and the Buddha considering where these monks should go. Of course, when they say considering, the Buddha said look into the connections. This group of monks have what connection? Which village should I send this monk go? And after the Buddha scanned, check it out, and I think that is the only place. Very coarse food. But they are able to practice peacefully and attain arahantship there. And the Buddha sent them there. And true enough, this group of people go there. They got very, very lousy food, very coarse food, but they are happy to stay there, and they really attain arahanthood. Okay. And now, some monk ask, why certain group of monks, the Buddha sent them, and they have this very good support, everything so good, and why this group of monks you send them, they are so going to go through all kind of this house, not so well supported. And the Buddha said, well, in the past life, this group of monks, they are well supported. They are the people who always help out people, support people, very generous, help people without thinking, returning. And this is why the fruit is ripening, and this is why they are so blessed. They go everywhere, people support them. And the other group of monks, in the past life, never do dana before. Lucky enough, you know why? Every time he got leftover food, before he washed his plate, he threw the leftover food into the bush, and there were all these animals, insects, and so forth, managed to eat the food. And this group of beings has been born as a human being in his lifetime. And because this group of beings has benefited from this guy leftover throw away food, come to support this group of monks now. So you see, this it sounds unbelievable. It sounds, how can that be? But let me tell you, the Buddha will never tell a lie. And things always happen with a reason. There's no such thing as, coincidence. No. There's always a reason to everything that happens in your life. So why we want to bring out this subject? So that we can be more aware of the word sacrifices, more aware of the word what we call giving. We don't be the one who receive. We want to be the one who always give. That's why we call it เสียสละ giving, sacrifices. And of course, if we can't sacrifice, we sacrifice our energy. We sacrifice what? In our sleep, we meditate. We spread thoughts of goodwill. In our practices, we sacrifice our service in terms of maintenance and everything. This is called another way of. And for the lay people, they sacrifice in terms of what? Material support, food, lodging, medicine, and all these things. And for monks, same thing. We also must sacrifice. We also must do our job. And this is the way we practice is a two-way traffic. And for monks, of course, we delivered what? Dialogues, Dhamma, exchange of knowledge so that it can benefit people, it can brighten out people's ideas, open up new ground for to think about. And this is how we progress. Because if there's no opening up of dialogues, then you will never progress. We will always be in our own circle of thoughts, very small. It's just like a frog inside a well. You got to look externally. And that will be the sharing for today. Yatha varivaha pura paripurenti sakarang eva beva nito tina petana upakapatit ichita badita dumha kipameva samichatu sape purentu sankapa Chandho Panaraso Yatha Manicho Diraso Yatha Tiya Vivanjandu Samharo Govina Saduma Devava Vandarayo Sukhi Digayo Go Bhava Viva Tanasile Sanicang Buddha Vajayino Cakaro Dhamma Vatanti Ayuvanno Sukhang Alaya Samipade Kapete Vasa Parita Jatiyo Sila Vadeta Mochetava Sanyate Brahmacharino Yadata Devata Sunta Sadakina Madise Tapuchita Pujayanti Marita Manayatina Tatonang Anukampanti Mata Putavaurasang Devata Nukampito Poso Satabarani Pasati Bhavatu Sabhamangalang Rakadu Sabhadevata Sabha Buddha Nubhavena Sada Soti Bhavantu Te Bhavatu Sabha Mangalang Rakadu Sabha Devata Sabha Dhamma Nubhavena Sada Soti Bhavantu Te Bhavatu Sabha Mangalang Rakadu Sabha Devata Sabha Sangha Nubhavena Sada Soti